Hello and welcome back to my channel, and welcome back to the series, yet another inventory series, but wait, this is episode 9, and in the last episode we got to be able to pick up our items, display our items in our inventory, click on them, see how many we have, so on and so forth. I've set these for a quantity of 10 and doing some testing earlier for today's episode. But if we click on use, it does nothing. And today we're going to look at how we're going to get this use button to work. And although there may be what appears to be a simple way around it, what pitfalls you may occur doing that. So let's get right to it. So first of all, let's go to our inventory component. I already have mine open. Go to your inventory component. We did our basic add item. So what we're going to do is we're just going to duplicate it because we want the same inputs and outputs. And we're just going to call this basic remove item. And we're basically going to just delete everything inside of that. Now, when we did our basic add item, there is a handy add node attached to our array. So let's go back and see if we have something similar to remove. So we type in there and we type in remove, and we've got remove item. Seems ideal. We can connect our item, and we can connect it up to our return node, and we can test it, see if it works. So to test it, we need to quickly go into our main inventory, click on our designer and our use button down here. On the on clicked event, we're going to get our player character like we did before. We're going to get component, not components, component by class. We look for our inventory component, and we're going to say basic remove item. And the item we're going to remove is the item here, which is set here when we click on the slot. And we're also going to use the refresh, so it's up here in the events, refresh inventory slots here. So we will call that refresh inventory slots. Let's check it out, see if it works. So we'll go down here, we pick up some drink. Pick up some donuts. And pick up some health kits just to show that it does work. Let's open up our tab. If we click on this can of drink, we have a quantity of 1. We drink it. It's gone. We've only got 3 left here now. Click on our donut, let's click on a quantity of 1, we eat it, fine, we've got a 1, 10 and a 10, we've got a 1, 10 and a 10, get rid of this 1, and drink that can, first aid kit, we can use that, no problem. Let's get rid of this 1 donut. Okay, that's fine, everything seems to work great. I got rid of the wrong can of drink, but it doesn't matter. So if I click on the donut, quantity of 10, either one, and I eat it, we've lost 9 donuts. We've eaten 1, but we've lost 9. We've only got our 1 stack of 10 left. And that is the problem with using that remove item, because all it does is looks for an identical item to what we're given it, and it removes all instances of that. Now, the reason it only removes one lot of 10 is because in our add, we will go back to the image component to show you, in our basic add item, we have given them all a separate index. If for demonstration purposes I just remove that, go to play, and go and pick up, we'll do it with the first aid kits because, oh, I'm going to do it, doesn't matter. Pick up the donuts. Here we have a list of donuts. We've got ones, and I think at the bottom of these should be 2. Yeah. So if I click on one donut now, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 donuts here. So I'll click on one of them and click eat. It removes all 6 because they're all identical. And what that remove does, it looks for anything that's identical to what we tell it and removes it. So if I click on the 10, we've got 2 lots of 10 here. It will remove them both. So it does have its downfalls. The only reason it wasn't doing it like that is because we gave each one a unique index. So they were all different. But it still removed the whole quantity of 10. So it's not ideal. We can get around this by using a different node. And to do that, we're going to make another function. And we're going to call this remove item at index. And we're going to have an input of item. Type item structure. Okay. We're going to drag in here. We also need another input, sorry, of index. We could do that internally, but for future use, let's make this an internal variable, external variable. Okay. So we can drag off of here and we can say remove. You see remove index. If we actually hover it, says remove item at the given index from the array. Sounds ideal. Doesn't really need our item, just needs an index. Okay. Will that work? Well, yes and no. Yes, it will work the same way basically as the last one did. It will remove that index, but that index only, the index that we tell it to. So if that index has 10 items in it, it will still remove all 10 items in one go, which is not what we want. But it will not remove all identical items in the same way. So we're just not even going to bother with the return node. We are going to just quickly use this so I can show you it. So instead of this one, we're going to need that item. We'll drag that here. Remove that. I'm going to say remove item at index. Item we don't need to plug in right now because it's not doing anything, but we're going to break this structure. We're going to use the index we got in here, and we're going to do that. And just to make sure, just to show you that it doesn't remove all types, I'm going to, for demonstration purposes, again just disable this point. So that should work more or less the same way, but a slight improvement. We should do it all with cans of drink, doesn't matter what we do it with. So if we click on tab here, we've got a can of drink of 1. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 in total. So we've got a can of drink of 1. And we say drink. It removes all that, and we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. got a can of drink of 10, drink that, but again it removes all 10, like I just said, but it doesn't remove all of the same type, so we still leave us with the same amount. So yes, it's slightly better, but no, it's still not right, because we're still losing a quantity from a stack. If you're just using an inventory system that only has single items, work absolutely fine, no problem. So let's connect this back up, and let's go in and make this function work a little bit nicer for us. Remember, it's very basic. So how this works is, when we remove an index, we literally take that index out. So for example, if we remove the first index, which is 0, it removes 0, but then it moves everything above 0 down. So 1 becomes 0, 2 becomes 1, and so on and so forth. So if we remove item at index 5, 6 will then become 5, 7 becomes 6, and so on and so forth. So we have to keep that in mind when we're doing our coding. Now, we can get around that quite easily. First of all, let's look at how are we going to just get it to remove what we want, not what it wants. So in other words, if there's 10, let's have it only remove the quantity we want. Okay. So I'm going to change it a little bit now. I'm just going to delete these for a minute, and I'm going to change this. Instead of index, I'm going to call this quantity. So we're actually going to remove quantity from index. Okay. And we're going to get our content. We are going to use a get. Reference or copy doesn't really matter for this part. I think just the copy is fine because we're actually changing it. We're going to get our item, which we're feeding in from the beginning of the function here. We're going to break it. We're going to get the index here. So we're going to say, look in our content at index, whatever we set here. Remember, these indexes are set in our add item here, okay, as we add them. We're going to get that. We can hide all the other pins. And then from here, we're going to break this again. We're going to look at the quantity. And we say the quantity minus the quantity we've got in there. So the minus quantity we are wanting to remove. And we're going to promote that to a local variable, and we're going to call it L for local. And we say quantity remaining. Okay, so this is how many are left. So if we have 5 in here, we're removing 2, this would be 3. We're going to do that. And then we're going to check this. We could say, is this equal to 0? Okay. If it's equal to 0, we want to do something different than if it's not equal to 0. So we're going to go ahead and do that equal bit first. Actually, no, we're going to go ahead and deal with the not equal to 0 first. It's a little bit simpler. So we are going to basically, we're going to get our item. And we're going to bring in our content again. And we're going to say get And this time we're going to use get reference because we're going to be changing it. From here, we want to break this. We're going to use its index. We don't want anything else from there. So we're getting a reference of that. And the reference means we can change the variable. We're going to get our local quantity remaining. And from here, we're going to say set members in structure. In other words, it sets an item inside this structure. Add this on false. The one we want to change is quantity. We're going to set that to quantity remaining. So in other words, if we had 5 in here, we took away 1, the remaining quantity will be 4. So it sets it back to 4. So if we saw like in our donuts, we had 10. If we took away 1, this will set it to 9. And we can add a return node. Oh. Add a return node, and we're just going to add an output and call it success. Type Boolean. We're quite happy with that, it succeeded. Okay. Now, that handles changing the quantity in our index. We get to 0, we don't want it there, we don't want that slot there. It's not like a drag and drop inventory where you have a set number of slots there laid out. We just want to make it empty. With a non-drag and drop inventory like we're doing here, we want to actually remove that slot because we can add another one when we need to. So again, we can copy these 2 nodes. We can get our content. And we can remove index. Index is here. Set that to 2. So we now remove that index. And like I said, it removes the index, takes it out, and anything above that moves down to fill the space and renumbers its index, which is fine, but it will then cause us a problem when we want to run this function again, because this index here in this will be wrong. Okay, we could get it to reset that every time we open up the inventory. We can actually set it there, which would work fine, but an easy way of doing it here is we can get the content, we can for each through it, for each through the content, because that now gives us a new index. And I believe we can't change this directly, so we need to promote this to a local variable. We can call it L item. We can try without that, but I've had various success doing that. Then we can set members in here. This time we're going to set the index, and the index is going to be here. And then we are going to then go ahead and copy that. And here we're going to say set array element. And the item is here, and the index will be here. We won't node in here, just to neaten things up. Once we've gone through all of that, we can return. Oops. We can return success. Now basically what this is doing is resetting the new index value inside that to where it actually is inside of our inventory. Like I say, you could do this when you open up the inventory. You can set it there. It works this as well, but it doesn't matter where we put it really. Okay, so let's go ahead and see whether this works and see whether it actually works efficiently. So let's go to our main inventory because we've got to change that a little bit. We don't need this here anymore, but we do need our item. To go to item, and our quantity we're going to set at 1. Okay, and the use button. In a minute we'll go back and change this to 2 and you'll see that it should work just fine. So if we go back, let's say we pick up items here. I know 2 of these have got 10. And send the drinks up here. And the first aid kits, they are just singles. So if we go to our inventory, we've got donut here, we've got 1 here. We can eat that, it successfully disappears. We've got a 1, a 10 and a 10. 1, 1, 10, 10. So let's look at the 10 donut. They eat 1 of these. We now have 9. Eat again. We now have 8. It doesn't move anything around. We can remove this one. This has still got 8. I can eat 1. Everything works beautifully. And just to show you that it works on the quantity, let's add 2 here. This might break it because we're trying to remove more than what there is there. So it may not remove it. So let's have a look. We may have to put in a catcher for that. But let's just try it. I haven't tried this in any of my tests before as I was talking. Let's do the same with the donut very quickly. So we've got donut here. Okay, let's try one with 10. We eat that. We've got 8. We eat that. We've got 6. It may break when we try it with a 1. Eat that. We've got -1. Okay, we don't want that. We can't have -1 because we've got nothing to catch the quantity. This is where we would need to have a fail point in our function, or we can just say, oh well, I'll make sure I'll code it and not have a fail point. Not necessarily good practice. So let's go ahead and put a fail point in there. So if this is the local quantity remaining is equal to 0, the reason it changed it was false because -1 is not 0. So we would have to look at it here and say, we can just change this little bit of code here just a tiny bit. We can say, is the item remaining less than 0 branch if it's less than 0, false, then we can just go ahead and go boom, do that. and if it's not, we can fail it there. That should catch that. Let's try it. I think we might play a start really, but never mind. Go here with both ends. So donut 10, eat, 8, eat, 8, 8, eat. It does nothing, which is exactly what we want it to do. It doesn't remove it. We can't eat it because we're trying to eat too many. In this instance, we are only going to be using one because we've got no way of setting the amount, but it's a good catch-all for maybe when we're trying to do something we want to eat more than one. Just a little safety thing so that it actually still keeps our inventory as it should be. Okay, and just for my memory's sake, because I'll forget next time doing it, we can go back to our main inventory. We're just going to set this back to 1. Okay, so there's a quick and simple way of removing an item from an inventory in quite a safe way and keeping track of what is in our inventory. I'm going to leave it there for this video. In the next one, we're going to have a little tiny break from coding the inventory. We're going to add some player stats so that when we actually use these items, it makes or shows the player we have used them, and otherwise it increases their stats for food, drink and health. And I'll show you how to add that to our UI system or our HUD that we have. And I have something a little bit different planned for the look of them. So thank you for watching. Please don't forget to like, subscribe and share my videos. And go ahead and look at my Patreon. If you feel you want to support me, please do. Or just buy me a coffee. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.